Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how I created this very summery, tropical-esque, bronzy sort of makeup look using a whole bunch of new products that I have on hand, as well as some oldies but goodies. I've been going a little crazy with the makeup hauling lately. I had 2,000 Ulta points and a 20% off coupon, so I went a little nuts and got like $200 worth of makeup for 30 bucks. It was pretty epic, not gonna lie. And then I also picked up some stuff during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. I got my April Boxy Charm in, so needless to say, I have a lot of new makeup that I want to show you guys, so I thought I might kind of like split things up from how I normally do my makeup playtime, because it would just be way too much stuff for me to show you all in one video. So I put like half the products into this makeup look, and then I will use the other half of the products that I got in a different makeup look that I will be showing you guys probably within the next week or so. So if you would like to learn how I created this makeup look today and what products I use, hear a little bit more about my first kind of impression thoughts on things, we're about to get into it. Alright, so let's get rock and rolling with this look. I'm going to begin by priming my skin. I'm going to be using the Touch in Sol No Problem Primer. I got this in a Boxy Charm not that long ago, and I've been really enjoying this. I've talked about it quite a few times here on my channel. Used it in Makeup Playtime, I think last month or the month before. And yeah, for a silicone primer, I don't feel like it's quite as slippery as like the Smashbox one. I always come back to the Smashbox one because I feel like that's the OG, you know, silicone primer of silicone primers. This one's just like a little bit more hydrating, but also still fills in all your pores and stuff, so I dig it. And then I figured, you know, this guy has not made an appearance in quite some time on my channel, even though I talk about it a lot, and that's the Laura Mercier Flawless Fusion Foundation. This is like my holy grail. Right now I need to mix two shades together, Macadamia and Latte, because I'm not really tan yet. But hopefully soon we'll start being able to get some sunshine because it's actually not like 30 degrees out anymore. You know what's the only thing I don't like about this product, aside from the fact that it's crazy expensive? But this pump on here, I feel like gets clogged so easily, and I definitely have had a few instances where I've had foundation explosions on my hand, and that really sucks because if you get foundation like on your clothes, forget about it. So I'm just gonna start with one pump of each of those shades, and then to blend it in, I'm gonna be using this sponge. This is from Beauty Junkees, actually. It came in a set that they sent me, and it looks exactly like a beauty blender, except it's quite a bit bigger. This expands a lot more than the beauty blender, and it is bigger than the beauty blender to start when it's dry even anyway. But I really like this sponge. It's much more affordable than the beauty blender is, and while it's not quite as soft, it's still pretty soft. Like, this is not a rock hard sponge at all. It's really easy to work with, so we'll just use this guy to blend this in. Okay, so I do actually have a new concealer to show you guys. I actually picked up quite a few new concealers lately. I have the e.l.f. Camo Concealer that I will be demoing for you guys in an upcoming Makeup Playtime video, but today I'm going to be showing you the Ulta Beauty House brand Full Coverage Liquid Concealer. And I've probably used this like 2 or 3 times before, and so far, so good. I think I like it a lot, and I like it certainly a lot more than the new L'Oreal Infallible Full Wear Concealer that I tried out last month. That one just no-go. But this guy, so far, I think is really quite lovely. Now, it says it is a full coverage, or yeah, full coverage liquid concealer. And I do feel like this provides a decent amount of coverage from the times that I've used it. It's not quite on like Shape Tape level, but I feel like this one provides pretty decent coverage. It's not too dry or too heavy. It's not too tacky or sticky. It's just like a good kind of middle of the road concealer. Again, I wouldn't call this crazy full coverage, but it's not exactly super natural either. I would say this feels a lot more like the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer to me, with maybe just like a hint more coverage, but it has that similar kind of more liquidy consistency that's kind of a little bit hydrating. It's not quite as pigment heavy as something like the Shape Tape. But yeah, I feel like that goes on pretty smooth. I mean, I do have fine lines in my under eyes, but what I've noticed is that once I do set this with powder, it doesn't get like super cakey, bunchy, or anything weird like that. So speaking of which, I'm going to go ahead and set this with my Cover FX Perfect Setting Powder. I am trying to actually use this guy up. I still have a bit left, but it's getting there. So I'm just kind of like lightly bake this situation. I've been doing this more. I've been enjoying applying powder with a damp sponge. I gotta say, I'm kind of late to the party, but I do like the finish of it. And since I get super oily right around my T-zone, I like to really set my concealer and foundation in these areas by really pressing in some powder, and I find that this also does help to kind of keep things looking a little bit more matte. Alright, so here is where this makeup look is actually going to start looking summery and bronzed and nice and tan. I picked up the Smashbox Ablaze face palette during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale. It was kind of like a last minute deal, so it wasn't something that was promoted ahead of the sale. One random day I got an email that this was 50% off, so it was like 20 bucks instead of 40 something, and I decided to jump on it because I really do love all of these tones. You essentially get 2 bronzers, 2 highlights, and 2 blushes, and both of the blush shades are really like tropical and fiery. They look really, really beautiful to me, and I just felt like this would be the kind of face palette I would actually get use out of, all 6 pans. So I decided to pick it up, and I have used this as well, maybe I would say like 2 or 3 times along with the concealer, and so far I think it's beautiful. The bronzer shades have worked out really nicely. It's blended really nicely, so I'm excited to show you guys what it looks like on the skin. So I'm going to go in with this little MODA angle blush brush to contour, and I feel like this lighter tone here in the palette that I'm using is a really nice shade for my skin tone because it is warm. Like, it's not a cool toned contour, but it's not like muddy or super orangey. I feel like it does really make my skin look like I've got some sun. Like, it makes it look like I've got like a natural tan. So yeah, I have like no problems blending this out whatsoever. It's not patchy at all. I think it's really beautiful, and I haven't used a powder product from Smashbox in eons. Like, I had one of their little cover shot palettes in like an all metallic formula a couple of years ago, and I didn't really super love it, but like, I don't think I've used any of their cheek products, I don't know if ever. It's certainly not anytime recently, so I'm definitely feeling pretty good about them based on this palette. And then something that I always do, if you want to look like you've been out in the sun and you're tanned, make sure you take your bronzer up on the nose, because I feel like that is a place that you naturally tend to tan when you've been out in the sun all day. You know, the sun is going to hit that highest point of your face, so I feel like, and you don't want to go too heavy, but just taking a little bit of your bronzer right kind of across the top of your nose there, or maybe if you have just like a little bit of residual product left, it's going to really make you look like you're very sun-kissed. And then I think I'm going to take just a little bit of the darker shade right in the hollows of my cheeks, like at the deepest part, just to add like a little tiny bit of extra dimension. I like this brush also, by the way. MODA brushes are great. They're so affordable. They're super, super soft. They last for like years and years. I enjoy them. And this one is from one of their new sets. It's like a 90s inspired electric, super colorful set. So I've been enjoying this one a lot. All right, so now that we're nice and bronzy, I'm gonna go in with the blush shades. I think what I'm gonna do is start with the lighter and then add a pop of the brighter shade to the apples. I'm using my old school Sonia Kashuk blush brush that doesn't exist anymore, which is super, super sad. I absolutely love this. It's like my favorite blush brush ever. It just applies it perfectly. But really, I would use any super soft blush brush that you can kind of buff with, nothing that's going to be too dense, just so that way you don't over apply. And then this shade here, the one I'm applying, this lighter shade, does have a little bit of a glow to it. No like chunks of sparkle, but it does kind of leave a little bit of a natural sheen you guys can see, which is really pretty. So if you wanted to wear this all by itself without a highlight, you could, but we definitely gonna add some highlight. And then just to add like a little bit of extra flush, I'm gonna go into the matte shade above that, that's a little bit brighter, and kind of just pop this on the apples. Ooh, yeah. So this is going to be a very blushy look. I mean, obviously feel free to tone this down if it's like a little bit too much for you. Also, if you go a little overboard ever with your bronzer or blush, you can always go back in with your sponge and just kind of tap it over the area, and that will sort of just blend everything into the skin a little bit more. All right, and then to highlight, we've got 2 shade options here. Both of these are beautiful. These are slightly more stiff in the pan, but they still do have really beautiful shine. They're very smooth. They're not chunky at all. Oh, just look at those, like how freaking stunning. So I feel like the more sort of golden toned one definitely has more shine. The one that's got a little more of a pink shift is a little more subtle, so I want to be blinding and glowy today, so I think I'm going to use that more kind of bronzy shade. And to apply it, I'm just using a Pro Highlight brush from Beauty Junkees. I really like this brush a lot. It's a great shape, it's a great size for highlighting. So we're just gonna, ooh, yeah. This is very intense. So I'll make sure to go in with my blush brush afterwards, just to blend these 2 shades together so it doesn't look so crazy. But yeah, that's some glow. So yeah, I think this palette is absolutely beautiful. I'm so glad that I decided to splurge on it kind of on a whim, because I really didn't know anything about it. But I feel like it looks super beautiful on the skin, and it definitely is giving me some hardcore summer vibes. All right, so to save us a little bit of time, I'm gonna throw on my brows. Gonna be using the iconic London eyebrow cushion that I got in my Boxy Luxe box last month. I am still really into this, loving the way it looks, so gonna go take care of this situation, and I'll be right back. All right, so now that brows are on, let's move on to eyes. I'm gonna be using the Pure Festival palette today. I got this in my April BoxyCharm, and you can also buy this on the Ulta website right now, so I figured we could play with it a little bit together. I did test this out the other day, so I've only used this once before, and it actually performed pretty well, so I think I'm going to recreate-ish the look that I did the other day. I used this really beautiful pop of purple here, but I didn't use the glitters yet, so maybe we'll play with those as well. But first, to start, I'm going to prime my eyes with my brand new MAC paint pot. This is the first MAC paint pot I have ever owned, which is kind of a little bit insane to think about considering how long I've loved makeup, but I never really was into MAC when I was a teenager, probably because I couldn't afford it, but this was half off during the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty sale, so I decided it's a cult classic product. It was about time I finally picked it up, and I got the shade Soft Ochre. I have to say, having used this the other day, like, I understand where all the hype comes from. I mean, it's nice because if you get the right shade, it definitely can help to cover up any sort of veininess on the lids, similar to if you were using a concealer, but it's not quite as thick or sticky. Like, it definitely is a thicker primer than a translucent one. Like, it's not quite as slippery and thin as like the Urban Decay primer potion or something like that, but I feel like it's a nice in-between. Like, it kind of just mattifies everything, smooths out the eye, and gives it a nice prep for eyeshadow. So far, so good with the paint pot. Side note, this palette smells like vanilla. It's kind of delicious, but if you don't like scents, just be aware of that. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start in the crease with this shade here called Epic, which is a nice warm brown color, pretty solid transition shade. Gonna go in with this MODA Pro crease brush. And now it's funny because I feel like a lot of people are negatively biased towards Pure eyeshadows because they have had quite a few palettes in BoxyCharm boxes in the past, and the Pure times BoxyCharm collab palette, that was the one most recent before this one. A lot of people really didn't like that palette, so I feel like everyone was kind of rolling their eyes when they saw this palette was going to be in the box, thinking that it was going to be bad. But I mean, so far I feel like I've had no issues with the shadows that I've tried so far in this palette. Obviously, I really do need to test the entire thing out, but the mattes really do build and blend like beautifully. They're not patchy at all. All right, and then I'm gonna go in with a slightly smaller fluffy brush. This is the Sigma Tapered blending brush, the E35. This is like one of my favorite brushes ever, ever, ever. If you feel like you have a difficult time blending out your crease because shadow gets everywhere, you need this brush because it just kind of keeps things a little bit more controlled. Or if you have smaller eyes, this may be like your perfect first step blending brush. So I'm gonna go into this shade here called Hidden Desert, which is also a matte. This one's quite a bit deeper. Gonna start this on the outer corner and kind of just blend it up into the crease. There is quite a bit of kick up in the pan with these mattes. They are very soft. But again, I mean, I feel like they're really pretty. Like I'm not seeing any like patchy weirdness with these shades at all. So far so good. Now, I don't think I'm going to use this pink shade today, so I just wanted to swatch it for you guys so you could see, because this one is also matte. And look at that. I mean, that's nice. Very, very pigmented, super smooth, not a lot of fallout. So like, again, I think these eyeshadows are pretty solid. Anyway, what we're gonna be doing next is going in with the shade here, Psychedelic, which is a really pretty metallic gold shade. Now, this is a soft metallic, but it feels a little bit more sticky, harder pressed. It's not like a really fluffy, wet feeling metallic eyeshadow. So I'm gonna go in with my finger first on this eye, since I just swatched it just to see. But we'll use a brush on the other eye and see if there's any difference. And this is just a little ES17 brush from Juno & Co. Little nice eye shader. Yeah, so this is not like a sparkly shade. It's more of your traditional sort of creamy metallic. Obviously, I'm not wetting this, so it's not going on crazy foiled. But you are getting, you know, some nice shine. And yeah, I feel like if you build it up with a brush, the end result is pretty similar to like what you would get with a finger. So honestly, you could probably apply it either way depending on your preference. I think I'm also going to take some of this shade here called Free Spirit, which is a little bit lighter, and just kind of pop this into the inner corner, inner portion of the lid, and kind of blend that into the gold. And then I just wiped my brush off, and I'm kind of curious. I just kind of want to play with the shade a little bit. This one down here called Sunset. Let's give it a little swatch. Ooh, feels very soft. It's a really pretty pink color. I might want to add a little bit of this shade, or then we also have this bronzy color here. This one's called Good Vibes. This is a really beautiful bronze tone. Oh yeah, that's a great summery shade right there. So I think I actually am going to go in with just like a little bit of this Good Vibes shade and kind of apply this towards the outer half of the lid to blend into that gold. So for the lower lash line, I'm going to start again with some of this shade Epic on my big brush, and I'm just going to kind of sweep this underneath my lower lash line because I want to just pull some of this color down here. And then I'm going to take this little pencil brush. This is a Pro Pencil from Beauty Junkees, and we're going to go into the purple shade here, which I'm very, very surprised that they chose this name for this shade, because it is considered a racial slur, which is why I'm not going to say it. We're just going to call it the purple shade in this palette. I think that's very ignorant of Pure. I know quite a few people who have watched my videos when I have used that word in the past unknowingly, have kind of given me a heads up about that, which I appreciate. So I feel like that's a little insensitive and kind of stupid for a beauty brand to continue to use that word, because I understand that in American culture, people take it to mean something else, but the history of that word is very negative, and I think it's important to respect people of Romani culture, and if they feel that that word is a slur, to not use that word. So as you can see, that purple shade goes on really nicely. Purples are not easy to do, but like this is pretty pigmented. Give you guys a little swatch there. So that's what the purple shade looks like, and again, I think it's really nice, and it does go on pretty well with a brush. All right, so moving on, I'm going to apply some eyeliner to my lower waterline. And I've been wanting to try the new Dose of Colors eyeliners and lip liners so badly since they first launched. So the shade that I decided to try out, because it's something I didn't already have in my collection, I got a lot of browns and blacks, but this is a really pretty dark purple, like an eggplant color, and it's called Crushed. So I thought this would actually work really perfectly with this look. So this is an automatic twist up eyeliner. So you don't need to sharpen it with a pencil sharpener, which is handy. And it seems to be like, I don't know, it's not going on super great in the waterline, but it might just be also that my waterline is super extra watery. Let me do like a little swatch here for you guys so you can see. Yeah, but it's pretty creamy. Definitely something you need to layer up a little bit though to get to full opacity, so I could see it not being the absolute best for the waterline, but it feels like the kind of formula that is not going to budge once it dries down. For curiosity's sake, I'm going to also try lining a little bit in the top lashes as well and see if I get any better pigmentation there. Just going to take my little pencil brush and a little bit more of that purple shadow and just blend the eyeliner a little bit on top so it's a little less harsh. All right, so thoughts on the eyeliner is that it's a little stiff. It's not quite as creamy as I would prefer. I feel like the Marc Jacobs eyeliners that I have are softer than this for an automatic pencil, which makes them quite a bit easier to use, especially in the waterline. Like, I definitely was able to get full color opacity. Like, that was not a problem at all. I just feel like I had to press a little bit harder than I would have liked to on my upper lash line especially. Anyway, y'all know how I feel about glitter, so we can't not try out some of these cool pressed glitters that are in here. I think I want to use the gold one, which is called 24 Karat Magic. So I'm going to prep my lids with a little bit of the NYX Glitter Primer. I just picked this up also in my recent Ulta haul to replace my poor Too Faced glitter glue, which finally died. If y'all saw my empties video, you would have seen that. So I'm just going to tap a little bit of this right on top of where I have that gold shadow. And then I wanted to show you guys this. This is a silicone applicator that I got in a little duo from Sephora. It is super handy for applying glitters like this when you don't want to have to stick your finger in it. So I just basically smoosh it around in the pan, pick up a little bit of glitter, and then we're just going to go right on top of where I put that tacky primer. And honestly, even though these do have like a creamy base, like they will self-adhere, I would always recommend using a glitter primer underneath any kind of glitter because it will help to minimize fallout. Kind of going back with some of that bronzy Good Vibes shade just to kind of blend into that glitter so it doesn't look quite as harsh. So I feel like this is one of those looks that is not going to come together until I have lashes on. So I'm going to throw on some Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara, and then I'm also going to pop on a pair of falsies. I've been looking for an excuse to try out these Lilly lashes that I got in my Boxy Luxe box. These are the shade Gaia, so I'm going to go ahead, throw this on, and I'll be right back. All right, so lashes are on. I definitely feel like they help this look really come together, and they are very, very comfortable. They're super lightweight. They had a clear band, so really easy to pop on. Do not bother my eyes in the slightest, which is great. So all we have left at this point is lips, and I have two products that are both new to me to test out and show you guys. The first is one of the new Dose of Colors lip liners. So I actually picked up two shades of the lip liner. So I'm gonna use one today and one in my makeup playtime that I'll be doing later on. And then we'll also be topping with the new Persona Season 1 lip gloss. This is in the shade Peach, which I think is super pretty. So the lip liner shade that we're using today is called Floral, which was described, I think, as like a burnt sienna, and I thought it was a really pretty color and unlike any other lip liner that I had. And now this is gliding on super easy. Now I was wearing like a lip oil that mostly has absorbed into my lips to keep them hydrated throughout this video, so I'm sure that helps. But like, this is not tugging at all. Yeah, I think this is a beautiful shade. It reminds me a lot of the shade Sweet Cream from Bite Beauty in their Amuse Bouche lipstick format. Like, this is very, very similar to that. So I feel like this will be a good lip liner for me to have on hand because it will go with quite a few lipsticks and other lip products that I already own. Now we'll top with some gloss. Oh, this smells delicious. It smells like some kind of sweet baked good. Yeah, that gloss is not sticky at all. Feels really hydrating on the lips, maybe just slightly on the like more oily, slippy side, but if you don't like those really thick gel-like gloopy glosses, you probably would really enjoy this because it does feel a little bit thinner on the lips. And you can't deny the shine is beautiful, and the way that these look together is really nice. It's a little bit vibrant, but it's very, very pretty. All right, guys, so here is the completed final look that I came up with. Definitely digging it more now that the whole thing is on my face. So let me just zoom you all out and then we'll wrap things up and chat a little bit about the products we use today. All right, so let's talk about the products we use to create this very summery, bronzed, fun, maybe even a little festival-esque kind of look. So first up, we have the Ulta Beauty Full Coverage Liquid Concealer. I'm really enjoying this so far. I think it provides pretty good coverage. It's not too drying. It doesn't settle into fine lines and like crease and get weird or anything like that. So far so good, especially for a drugstore concealer. Does it give as much coverage as like the Tarte Shape Tape? No, I wouldn't say that much. It reminds me a little bit more of the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer as far as how much coverage you get out of this, but the actual texture is a little bit thicker than the Urban Decay. That one I feel like is a little bit more liquidy. This one reminds me almost a teeny bit of the It Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye, but not quite that thick. So I will definitely continue to play with this and keep you guys posted if my thoughts change, but so far I think it's a pretty good concealer. Then next up we have the Smashbox Ablaze Face Palette. This I think is absolutely beautiful. I love the way this applied to the skin. I love the tones that are in here. I think if you have a light to medium to tan complexion, this would be perfect for you. I think if you are very, very fair, it might be a little bit difficult to work with. And obviously if you're very, very deep, I don't know that these contour bronzer shades are going to do very much for you. I don't think that the highlights would be necessarily too ashy, and I do think that these middle blush shades are vibrant enough that they would look really beautiful on both fair and deep skin tones. But on my skin tone, I think this is beautiful. I felt like nothing went on patchy. It was all very smooth, easy to work with, so I really enjoyed it. Ultimately, what it's going to come down to is the longevity of these powders. I did wear this the other day, but I honestly wasn't paying too much attention to the wear time, so I'll keep an eye on it today and see how my makeup is looking tonight when I go to bed and see whether or not I'm still seeing any blush, bronzer, and highlight, or if it is completely gone, because if this fades after a few hours, I feel like it would be a lot less appealing to me. Then we had the eye primers, the MAC Paint Pot in Soft Ochre and the NYX Glitter Primer. Obviously, I need to use this paint pot more, and I'm going to try it out with a bunch of different palettes to see if it does anything weird, but as far as the couple times I've used it, I've really liked it. I understand now why so many people enjoy this as an eyeshadow primer. I think it really did smooth my eyelids out nicely, covered up any kind of discoloration that I had, helped the shadows to go on nicely. They weren't patchy, so far enjoying this. And then the NYX Glitter Primer honestly is pretty much identical to the Too Faced Glitter Glue. The way that it feels is pretty much the same. The way it looks is exactly the same, and it apparently seems to be working. I mean, we'll see how well this glitter holds up on my eyes today, but if you didn't want to shell out 20 bucks for the Too Faced Glitter Glue, it seems like this would be a great dupe. Then we have the Pure Festival palette, which honestly, I feel like quality-wise, this palette is good. I really don't have any complaints. All the mattes that are in here were really easy to work with. They built up nicely. They blended out nicely. They weren't patchy and weird on me. The pigmentation of these two vibrant shades is actually really, really nice. And then you have these really pretty, very neutral metallic shades, which honestly, they're just not very exciting. I think it works with the palette. Like the color story is pretty harmonious, but obviously like these are not super unique shades you're not going to be able to find elsewhere in your collection. And then the glitters are fun. I really enjoy this format of like the silicone pressed glitters. They're a lot less messy than a loose glitter to apply. And honestly, if you haven't looked into those little silicone applicators, they make your life so much easier, especially if you are someone with nails, because obviously like if you stick your finger in this and you have long nails, it's going to get glitter under your fingernails and nobody wants that. And sometimes I feel like with a brush, it's just a little bit hard because the bristles kind of fluff the glitter everywhere as opposed to the silicone kind of keeping it all flat, and it just makes it a lot less messy to apply. Now when it comes to the Dose of Colors lip and eyeliners, I think the packaging is beautiful. I love how sleek they are. The prices on these are not that bad. They're $14 for the the lip liner, 15 for the eyeliner. They come in so many really cool shades, but I do feel like the eyeliner was a little stiff. I kind of wish it was a little bit creamier and easier to apply, especially in the waterline. The lip liner I feel like went on super buttery though. I do think if my lips were completely dry, it wouldn't have been quite so easy to glide on. You can tell when you swatch it on your hand, like it's very pigmented and it dries down very matte and budge proof. So I definitely have the feeling these are going to be long wearing. Obviously I'm going to need to wear test them a bit, but I would say so far I give the eyeliner like a B+, and I gave the lip liner like an A-. And then finally, the Persona Season 1 lip gloss. I think this smells nice. It feels nice on the lips. It's hydrating. It's not quite as like thick and luxurious as like the Pat McGrath lip gloss that I tried out earlier this month, and well, yeah, y'all know that story. But I think considering this is obviously a lower price point, the Pat McGrath glosses in full size are $28. This one is like $16, so I do really still feel like this is nice. I like this color a lot, and I think it looked really beautiful over that lip liner. Alright guys, so that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you enjoyed seeing this look come together and learning a little bit more about these products, hearing my thoughts on them. If you've tried anything I used in today's video, definitely leave a comment down below and let me know what you think of these products. Do you like them? Do you hate them? Are they on your wish list? Are you thinking about picking them up? Leave me all the deets in the comments down below. And be sure to stay tuned for another testing new makeup video coming your way soon, because I've got even more stuff that I want to be playing with. So like my formal makeup playtime video will be coming probably within the next week or so, or the next couple of days, so be on the lookout for that. So yeah, that's about it from me, but I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.